Michael, Trevor, and Franklin are some of the most well-loved protagonists in the entire GTA series. Not only are they masterfully used within the story of GTA 5 and GTA Online, but they are also given completely unique lives independent of each other, which makes them feel like fleshed out individuals which prior protagonists did not have due to them being the sole protagonists controlled by the player. This also corresponds to how many players over the years have chosen to engage in the GTA titles. In this video, I want to help explain why it was necessary for Grand Theft Auto 5 to have 3 protagonists and why Rockstar have chosen to continue this system with multiple main characters going into GTA 6. But before we start, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button for more GTA and video essay content. Also make sure to click the hype button as it will help this video grow and reach many more GTA fans and gaming fans alike. To start off with, I want to go more in depth with my earlier statement about the way people have played the GTA games over the years. GTA at its early stages were mainly played as sandbox games, as they enabled you to interact with a realistic world and essentially do anything you want. The main gameplay loop involved committing crimes with minimal reason or context to do so, so many people would run around, steal cars, and attempt to escape the highest wanted levels in the game. Yes, missions did exist in the earliest forms of GTA, but the reward for doing them were not as fleshed out as what we have now in GTA 5. This led to many people's experience of the GTA series being chaotic and unstructured, which ties into the first character I want to talk about in Trevor Phillips. Trevor is meant to embody the player that hops into the game to cause chaos and go on rampages, which is also emphasized through his special ability to become invulnerable and deal double damage. This doesn't mean that Trevor doesn't have any depth, because that is quite the opposite with him, but it does mean that he was created around the behaviors of early GTA players that found fun in the unstructured environment. The reason why I'm emphasizing early players is because nowadays, whether that be in story mode or online, most players are trying to grind to earn the biggest and best rewards that are available in the game. Elements of this were also in the early GTA games such as San Andreas, which is the most direct connection to GTA 5, where CJ could buy businesses, clothes, and even cars once he had acquired enough money. This is what built the foundation of what's in GTA Online, and this playstyle became one of, if not the most popular ways to interact with the GTA series. This idea of coming from nothing to becoming something is the playstyle that Franklin embodies, as he is the rookie that starts out in the shared house with his aunt that goes on to owning a house in the hills. Gameplay wise, he's encouraged to buy businesses, engage in the stock market, and as the game goes on, he becomes more competent in the eyes of Michael and Trevor. He even has the final decision at the end of the game that determines the ending, which contrasts the beginning of the game where he's seen broke and almost trapped. This leads me onto the final character in Michael, who is Franklin's mentor. Now, Michael and Franklin are quite similar in terms of player playstyles because they fulfill different player profiles at different stages. Franklin is meant to represent the come-up, whereas Michael is meant to represent the player that has already finished the game. This is why he starts off with the most money in a mansion. His slow-mo special ability emphasizes skill mastery, and throughout the story, he's given the most money through heists, which is used to canonically match up with where he's meant to be at in the game. Obviously, Rockstar wasn't going to give you 5 mil to start off with. There's nothing more for Michael to do or accomplish, which is why he becomes bored, which leads to the main narrative running through him and causes our trio of stories to become intertwined. Since Rockstar has enabled these player profiles to enjoy their games at whatever stage they're at, coming into GTA 5 they needed a way to make sure these players would be catered to. Not because they were trying to water down their game, but because they wanted GTA 5 to be the ultimate sandbox at the time of release. Their prior game in GTA 4 was more focused on the mission structure rather than the sandbox mechanics, as it was the first game in the HD universe. This left the Franklin and to an extent Michael playstyle unable to be fulfilled, which led to GTA 4 feeling more like the earlier games and leaning towards the Trevor playstyle, without fully committing to that level of chaos. I'm sure that it was an intentional game design decision to do that so it'd feel closer to GTA 3, but obviously not every player would be satisfied. The more interesting thing I want to look at is how the 3 protagonist system affects the narrative, which again I want to tie to the context with GTA 4. Throughout the story of GTA 4, both Johnny and Luis are featured in Nico's missions at multiple instances. However, there are plenty of points in the story where the plot points that involve them are not resolved, which can leave the story feeling incomplete if you didn't play either expansion for GTA 4 to get the full context. Now imagine applying that same logic to GTA 5. If there were only one protagonist, then we would be missing a lot of context as to what exactly is occurring throughout the story. For example, if Michael was the sole protagonist, then we would miss out on the dynamics between Franklin Lamar and Trevor when he wasn't available during the game. It's a minor example, but I can apply this to many different moments, such as when Michael and Trevor had to leave Los Santos, which would have removed certain layers of context if it was only seen from one point of view. Yes, I guess they could have went the expansion route again, but that seems very wasteful considering we know the tremendous quality of the product we have right now. This idea of simultaneous storytelling which underpins the narrative of the game fixes what came before. It fills in the context that was missing in the original story without it feeling separate from the overall narrative. It allows Michael to fulfill the endgame player status, Franklin to be the startup, and Trevor to be the chaotic player without ruining the narrative to engage in the sandbox world. Effectively, the narrative wouldn't have worked without the free protagonist system because it would have shrunk the scope of the world building. It also would have conflicted with the story that Rockstar would have wanted to tell, because whichever protagonist they picked wouldn't have been able to be as dynamic as they are in their current iteration. It would be very hard to paint Trevor as deranged if the player was in constant control of his actions. Also, a major theme of the GTA games is the American dream, which embodies each character very well. Again, chaos, grinding, and success all being equivalent to freedom, accomplishment, and abundance. Throughout the series, Rockstar likes to put a twist on the American dream idea, which is heavily intertwined with Michael as he's miserable, Franklin as he ends up doing the same repo jobs for Devin that he was doing for Simeon, and Trevor as he loves his freedom, but is trapped in a toxic relationship with Michael, who is also working with the Threads. Obviously not in that way, but you get what I mean. Having these three perspectives enabled Rockstar to explore these ideas on a more grand scale, rather than them having to niche down the scope of the narrative to fit one aspect of this idea. I feel like I've said a lot in a short period, so I'm going to tie this all together. Without Trevor, the Chaos Sandbox playstyle wouldn't be present within the story or encouraged in open gameplay. The freedom that his character embodies is contradictory because he's tied to a friendship that he hasn't been able to let go of for 10 years, even though he is directly working for an organization of control. Without Franklin, the classic sense of progression in GTA games would not be present, which would be detrimental to the world building and general gameplay, as Michael and Trevor's lack of wealth would have to be explained without Franklin. The sense of progression that modern players are fond of would not be able to be deconstructed through the irony of Franklin moving up in the world, but doing the same jobs he was doing when he felt like he was at the bottom of the food chain. Finally, without Michael, there isn't the endgame perspective which shows us, the players, what happens when you finally make it. The cold reality that the American dream that everybody is chasing is miserable wouldn't be able to be explored in depth if we weren't given the full context of Michael's family dynamic through him being playable. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video is a lot shorter than my usual videos. Usually my scripted content is a lot longer than this. But I felt like this video did not have to be essentially just dragged out for any longer than it really did. I feel like I answered this question quite well, and if there's anything I did miss out, I can make a follow-up video on that, or even, remaster this type of video. But I'm also trying to kind of experiment and see what lengths of videos that you guys actually want to see. I'm assuming you guys prefer my videos where they're around 15 to 30 minutes long. But if you guys like these shorter types of videos, obviously I feel like this video would do a lot better as well as a YouTube short in general. Obviously you guys can let me know by, leaving comments and also liking the video, I said, earlier. But yeah, when it comes to, I guess you could say, GTA content on this channel in general, I guess the plan is obviously to move into GTA Online content, not obviously like, how to make money guides, but I also want to go into like the lore of like GTA Online as well. I'm still going to go over GTA 5. I'm actually going to expand into GTA 4, San Andreas, all the older games as well. But for now, I'm just kind of sticking to GTA 5 because, at least what I would call this, I guess I'll call this section of my content, I call this the GTA season. And the reason why I'm doing GTA content obviously is because I know GTA 6 is coming out. That's going to be a very important game just in general. And obviously, I kind of want to show my love for the GTA series, like I've even showed in my previous video. you know, the fact that I've played this game a lot. You know, I have a mansion. You know what I'm saying? I've played basically every GTA game that's come out. The only ones I haven't actually played are, you know, there's Vice City stories, and, you know, the PSP games that basically came out, so I do need to replay those. But more videos are coming out on the GTA side. Definitely getting towards the going into the older games. I'm definitely going to start looking at like how those games compare with the newer games. And essentially more GTA content is coming. You know, I don't want to make this outro too long, so I'm going to end the video off here. But again, thank you so much for watching. If you like my commentary and are new to the channel, please leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care and have a lovely rest of your day.